Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Parents Engaging Parents Beloved Community Check-In. My name is Erica Beverett, checking in from Mount Laurel, New Jersey. I'm here to share lots of information tonight. We are definitely going to be getting some civic understanding based around legislation and lobbying. And of course, I'm going to share with us our PEP mission. And our mission is to promote civic awareness based on the interest of parents, proactive community advocacy based on the interest of parents and community. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've kind of taken a little bit of a break. I know that I needed a break, but just definitely interested in hearing from you all. Would love to know how you're doing, how the world is treating you out in Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn land. And hopefully you definitely continue to tune in because we have plenty of information to share. Things that are going on within our community. Shout out to Miss Elise, who has been rocking and rolling out there in Orange, East Orange. She's doing amazing work daily, giving out food to the community. So definitely listen out, reach out to her. Her name is Miss Elise West. Yes, I'm putting your name out there, Miss Elise. So that you can get your food resources. I definitely did hear this afternoon, the Community Food Bank of New Jersey was having some updates and announcements about how much funding has gone in to making sure that food insecurities are, I would say, not so much appeased, but what's the word I'm looking for? I wish somebody was here to talk to me and let me know, but just to relieve everyone that has been going through what inflation has brought to us, post-COVID, and even though we're still in the midst of COVID itself. But shout out to you, Miss Elise. Thank you so much. And her crew, of course, because we definitely know that this is definitely not a one-man show when it comes to this work that we're doing in front, behind the scenes. It's definitely can be challenging, but also, of course, rewarding. So we did jump off our holiday, our turkey holiday, with a big holiday basket giveaway and a coat giveaways led by Miss Elise and her team, along with Councilman Montague and Councilman Ross. We really appreciate your partnership with the work that we're doing and continue to do. This weekend on December the 3rd in Burlington County at the Palmyra Center, we're going to be having a coat giveaway as well. So shout out to Senator Troy Singleton and his team. I know it's going to be amazing, an amazing event. Just so glad to be able to give back to the community. So with that, I'm definitely going to bring to the platform. We have Eric Benson. He is a campaign director at Clean Water Action, and he's going to share with us some understanding of lobbying and legislation. And he's going to tell us a little bit about himself, because I know typically sometimes people like to read off bios, but we like to hear them from the horse's mouth, of course. So I am going to bring Eric to the platform. Good evening, Eric. And you are muted.
I got it. Hi, Erica. Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
Whole community. I'm so glad to be here tonight.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. Of course, I know that you guys are wrapping up the year and trying to make things happen. So definitely just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Eric and where are you from?
All right. Well, thank you so much. My name is Eric Benson. I'm the Clean Water Action New Jersey campaigns director. And I'm a daddy. I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old who are upstairs having some dinner right now. And I've been, it's been a real pleasure. I've had an opportunity to work with Clean Water Action my entire adult life, to kind of find this amazing organization that's committed. I mean, I like environmental issues, but they also work on, democracy and social justice and social equity, and making sure that, this air and water is clean for everybody. And so I've really enjoyed doing that. I always cared about stopping climate change, and with 2 little kids, I now have a rooting interest, and working to
Mhm.
make that even a higher priority, and making sure that they have a livable climate future and clean air to breathe.
Yeah, for sure, right? Because there's so many different things that comes with with the pollution that is um, is there, right? And definitely health concerns are a big one. So we're so glad to have you here to share and thank you for the work that you are doing with Clean Water Action. Okay, if you could just, I'm going to bring to stream your presentation.
Great. Yeah. So we'll start title slides, got my contact information. You feel free to record it, reach out anytime. I've kind of I've got a niche. I'm really good at New Jersey environmental and politics. So if you ever have any questions, you're welcome to reach out and contact me directly. Um, so just to give you a broad overview to start, Clean Water Action is a national organization, and nationwide, we do focus more of our efforts on a state by state basis. And so
Mhm.
nationwide, we're all working to stop climate change, but we don't. There's no drilling happening here in New Jersey. There's no oil. There's no gas. It's not coming out of the ground in New Jersey. So my Pennsylvania chapter is working on stopping the extraction of fossil fuels. Here in New
Mm.
Jersey, we do have a lot of people, 9 million that consume. We drive our cars, we turn on our lights. A lot of that is powered by fossil fuels. So, but we need to reduce our usage of fossil fuels. They also they do a lot of fracking in Pennsylvania, but they got to build a
Mhm.
pipeline through New Jersey to get it to other markets. So we're working on stopping the usage and the pipelines and the transportation. New Jersey also has some unique opportunities like offshore wind. Could be, it's a
Mm.
clean 100% renewable technology. We've got lots of it. We need to plug in. And so nationwide, we do focus our efforts a little bit more on the state issues. And I've New Jersey is unique in a lot of different ways, and obviously it's my job to care about this stuff. But I also
Mhm.
feel privileged to be able to work in such an interesting location. New Jersey has such a broad range of we're the most densely populated state in the nation. We got a lot of people in a small amount of space. We also have more Superfund sites than anyone else in the nation, and Superfund is the worst of the worst toxic waste sites. It's a federal designation. They say this is so bad, that
Mm.
we need to get involved here. So we've got more people and more Superfund sites than anyone else. We have a lot of different landscapes, and I like that I don't have to drive more than half an hour, and I can probably hit all of these.
Mm.
We've got mountains, we've got farms, we've got urban, areas, we've got beach, the landscapes, and it's all, and the Jersey Shore. It's a major moneymaker for the state. Recreation tourism is probably one of our biggest industries here, but it is highly susceptible and at risk, with climate change. I love we've got such a rich history and such a diverse mixture of cultures. It's
Mhm.
partially as Ellis Island was a gateway, for the country, but many immigrant families, chose and settled here. And we've got the second largest port in the United States here. So it's just so New Jersey, it's got unique um, highlights and some unique
Yes.
challenges, right?
Hmm.
So I like working in that space.
Yeah, New Jersey usually gets a bad name, a really bad name. They do us so dirty.
I'm New Jersey's second biggest fan. My wife, I think, is the first biggest fan that I know. I'm a proud, New Jerseyan. Where you're right, we do get beat up by the rest of the country, but you got to come here. You got to experience it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, yeah, and then beyond that, so just things I love about New Jersey. But then there's also um, as part of the work that I do, and we're going to talk about this, elevating your activist skills, is I really enjoyed working on this statewide level.
Hmm.
So if you think about it, you probably know who your mayor is. Your mayor might live, around the block from you, right? So you could be super local and be super active and super involved and have like a really big difference on what's happening in your local government. I'm an Essex guy. I live in Montclair, New Jersey. And it's a pretty hip, groovy, artsy, they try to do things right community.
Hmm.
But even if Montclair Township does every single green initiative and zero waste initiative and climate, justice, there's 532 other municipalities throughout New Jersey, that might not be doing it right. So it's really just kind of like its own little biosphere here. Things on the federal level, when we fight things on the national level,
Hmm.
it takes a long time. Things on the federal level move very slowly. That's partially by design, partially, I'd say DC is a mess. It's not operating the way it should be at all. But movement is very slow. But when you get something passed on the federal level, it impacts 300 million people. So it's slow changes, but they're monumental changes. So I kind of like that this New Jersey, it's a sweet spot where your vote matters more. You can have a direct impact on stuff that's happening at state level, and that impact, and when we're successful or when regulations are rolled back, impacts 9 million people, not just your little town. So we're going to get into this a little bit, but your vote matters more on a New Jersey level. But for a variety
Hmm.
of different reasons, we're not watching. New Jersey stuck between the Philadelphia media market and the New York media market. We don't have a lot of news, a lot of coverage, and newspapers have all consolidated or folded or got bought up by big companies. And so sometimes what's happening on that state level, it's hard to follow or get the information about it. But it's so important. New Jersey, they have an annual budget. The state of New Jersey spends $45 million a year. I'll never see that money in my lifetime.
Right.
But how the state spends $45 million, it should reflect the people that live here, yours, mine, our kids' values. And so those are some of the reasons why I really like working on this New Jersey level.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, we appreciate you. So we're
Uh,
ready to hear how we're going to elevate our activist skills here.
So let me go forward to the next slide here. All right. So clean water action. So I am working New Jersey. I'm a Jersey guy. Very I'm doing a lot here. This is just a quick shout out to one of my big climate projects, the Empower New Jersey Climate Coalition is working to stop fossil fuel projects from being built throughout the state. Governor
Hmm.
Murphy came into office. He had some he talks a big climate game, and he's done a lot of really great work on wind. Community solar might make solar benefits and clean energy available to people that might not own their own home. If you're a renter, you can't put solar on your roof, but community solar is a great program that allows you to purchase clean energy at a cheaper rate than you get it from your regular thing. So he's done a lot of good work on that. I call that the green energy and green jobs. He's a strong supporter,
Hmm.
both Governor Murphy and his wife. But we've had a hard time saying no to the fossil fuel projects, no to the compressor
Hmm.
station, no to the power plants, no to the pipelines. And, there's a lot of money in oil and gas and the building trades. The labor unions they'll build you a solar facility, but they're going to build the gas plant right next to it. So it's hard to compete with those jobs. We just need to think about things differently. So while Governor Murphy's been pretty good on climate issues, he's got room for improvement. So I call this the executive branch. I do work through the executive branch, and all the offices, many of them have a climate component. The Department of Environmental Protection. He appoints the person that's in charge. They report back to the governor, who we elect. The Board of Public Utilities sets our electricity and gas rates, reports to the governor. The Attorney General reports to the governor. Department of Transportation, transportation is the number one source of emissions. He appoints the person. We report back to the governor. So you can see, we on our climate initiatives, there's a lot the governor can do. We're critical at times. It's because he could be doing so much. So on the state level, we have our executive branch, and the meat of it we want to talk a little bit today is our legislative branch. So it's good to know how the state government works, and as you learn about it, as you get engaged, as you get involved, there's a lot that you can do. But you got to know how it works a little bit. So that's what we want to talk about today. So the New Jersey, these are people that we send to Trenton. Trenton is our state capital. We're not sending people. We send Cory Booker, Senator Cory Booker. He's a federal representative. He's a federal senator. He goes to Washington D.C. Senator Bob Menendez goes to Washington D.C. I guess this other map. This was the right slide. This is a good one. So on the left hand side, it's our congressional districts. We just redrew them because of the census. I didn't have an image of the new map. This is an old map, but it gives you the idea. We still have 12 congressional districts, and these are U.S. representatives. We send them to Washington D.C. On the left-hand side, that map is people that we send to Washington D.C. Big fan. I love Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman. Yes. Up here, I'm represented by Congressman Donald Payne Jr. Another North Jersey, Mikey Sherrill. I love. Not Laura, I think you're Andy Kim, Congressman Andy Kim.
Yes.
These are all people that we send to Washington, D.C. and make decisions on the federal level. And it gets tied up with, for better or worse, Chuck Schumer. Okay, that's the left-hand side of the map. Now, there's 12 districts on that left-hand side. We have 9 million people. You do the math, 9 million divided by 12. It's about 725,000 people per district. And so politics is you got to engage. You got to be involved. And if you want things to happen on the federal level, you should call Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman. But when you do, you are 1 in 725,000 people that live in this district that the maps are drawn. On the right-hand side, this is our New Jersey legislative map. Again, I'm sorry, it is the old version. It's just for illustration purposes. The lines are moved. But on the right-hand side are people that we send to Trenton to make the decisions and for us. It's 40. The number is 40. So you take 9 million people, divide that by 40 districts. You are 1 in 225,000 voters instead of 1 in 725. So like your voice, your phone call, your activism, your engagement, you are 1 in 200,000 versus 1 in 700,000. It means more on the statewide level, but the state level doesn't always get the national coverage and news media that some of the federal stuff does. So every district in New Jersey, people that we send to Trenton, has 1 senator, 2 assembly members. So the dots represent 1 each. So on the state level, we have 40 senators and 80 assembly members. They go to Trenton. They appoint their person that's in charge of their house. So on the Senate side, there's Senator Nick Scutari. All 40 senators say, you're in charge of our house here. That would be the Chuck Schumer of New Jersey, if you will. And on the left-hand side, it's Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin. Each of these 2 gentlemen, they're voted by their local people. He's just a senator. Senator Nick Scutari, he's a Union County. That's his map. He's in that area. Assemblyman Coughlin is Middlesex area. They have local people. One of the 40 districts elect them to be their person, and then their peers, the dots that are underneath them, all the 80 and the 40 elect them to be their leader internally. So we don't actually get to pick who gets to be the leader, but they are elected by their own local district. And these guys have a lot to say, like what bill is going to come up for a vote, what bill is not going to come up for a vote. The Democrats do happen to be in control of both houses. We have a Democratic-controlled Senate, a Democratic-controlled Assembly, and a Democratic governor. So, so just by being, in the majority, they get to decide a lot of things that happen in Trenton that impact us on our day-to-day lives. Clean Water Action. This is very fine print, hard to see, but just to give you an idea of the kind of stuff that happens in Trenton that impacts you in your day-to-day life. Who goes grocery shopping at the store and you forgot your bag? That was my fault. I half joke about that. It was a coalition. There's a lot of people together, but that was a state.
And I am the one every time.
Yeah. So, so that's something that happened on a statewide level that impacts you on your day-to-day life and why it's important to be plugged into, what's happening in Trenton. On the flip side of that, we were working on a bag ban law. I was mostly concentrating on plastics. We're glad that paper got included in that. But we were working on it for a long time. And where it got stuck, it didn't quite have the momentum. We were not able to pass on the statewide level, for a couple of years. But what we were able to do was work with local townships and towns across New Jersey passed a local ordinance. Montclair, New Jersey passed a bag ban. Cranford, New Jersey passed a bag ban. And so there's about 60 or 70 towns across New Jersey passed bag bans at their local level. So again, your participation, your involvement, your activism on a statewide level is very, on a town by town basis is very helpful. Because then we were able to use those 60 or 70 towns and use them as examples. Hey, lots of towns have done a bag ban. We could easily do this on a state level. We can easily adopt this. It's already a success story. Now you can make it a bigger success. And so we were able to pass that law. Other things, electric vehicles. If anyone's thinking about going out and buying a car, make it electric. New Jersey has a $4,000, discount on many electric vehicles that are out there right now. So, they passed out. It's on a state level, and and the federal there's $7,500. So, but you combine the two, it can really reduce the cost of a new car, make it electric, and reduce your environmental impact. So, that happened at the State House. So, the environmental justice law was another law that got passed. It's state law. It's done in Trenton by the people I showed you on the map before this, and they're green dots and blue dots. But the environmental justice law that got passed in New Jersey prohibits new polluting facilities from being built in areas that are already overburdened, low income, minority, English as a second language communities where the communities have not been able to fight back, and so toxic polluting facilities have gotten dumped. We look at Newark as a poster child, but we got 3 power plants in Newark already, right next door to the incinerator, right next door to the largest sewer treatment plant in New Jersey. And all these facilities combined have a negative impact on communities. But this new law will be able to say no new pollution. You're not going to be able to get a permit, and then we can continue to work to ramp down pollution. So other things to know about New Jersey is that we have our elections in odd number of years. So every year is an election year in New Jersey. It's one of another, put it on my list of loves of New Jersey. There's only 2 states in the nation. I'm blurry. There's only 2 states in the nation that have off-year elections. Everyone else elects their state people and their governors in even number of years. New Jersey and Virginia are the only 2 that elect our state people in odd number of years. So this year, it was a big election year for the midterms, but it's an even number year. We're in 2022. It was federal elections. These are people that are going to Washington, D.C. to represent us. Next year, the Assembly and the Senate, people that we elect to go to Trenton, are going to be going down there. And one thing to remember is, I say, every year is an election year, but it's important to it's frustrating at times because it feels like the system's a little bit rigged. But you know, a lot of the people that are running, the lines are drawn, and this is a Democratic district, this is a Republican district. You know, if you turn enough people out, you can change that dynamic. But in general, there's more Democrats or more Republicans that live in certain districts, and so the important election is the primary election that happens in the first Tuesday of June, where a bunch of people pick, you know, this is the Democrat that's going to run versus the
Right.
Republican that's going to run. So what we all think of, oh, it's election day, it's the first, you know, Tuesday in November. You know, at that point, a lot of it's kind of predetermined already because the Democrat's going to win because it's a Democratic legislative district. In Jersey City, it's not, the people of Jersey City are not going to re-elect a Republican. So, but the important election is the one that happens in the first Tuesday of June to say who is going to be the Democrat, right?
Right.
You
And so
gotta,
it's to that point of really paying attention to who is running, right?
yeah.
Do your homework.
And
We
when
all
to
need
do
to
it.
do our homework.
So, and so in 2023, it's the New Jersey State Senate and the New Jersey Assembly. It's 120 New Jersey legislators that we send to Trenton to make decisions on a state level. They're all up for election in 2023. 2025, the governor will be at it for that, and it won't be Governor Murphy because he's term limited. Yeah. All right. So it's just good to know like how a bill becomes a law. Again, a lot of this, there's a lot of overlap between what we do on the state, you know, and how it interacts, and similar processes happen on the federal level. But you know how a bill becomes a law. You know, that somebody has an idea, legislator has an idea. People can come to legislators that can propose it. It gets referred to committee, and what that means is, you know, in the assembly, there's 80 people. They're not going to have an open debate with 80 people. It would take them forever. So the committee is sort of like a small group workshop, you know, and so bills get assigned to the committees by the person that's in charge, and they say, this is an environmental bill, and they'll send it to the environmental committee, and that group is 8 or 9, you know, 8 people, 9 people, and they're going to fine tune it. If we're going to do a bag ban, does it take a place 1 year after we pass this, 2 years after we, you know, pass it, 5 years? You know, that's a detail that they're going to work out in a small group, and then it's going to go back before the full house. And so bills get introduced, they get referred to committee, then they get, you know, passed by.
So how does it get to the point when it becomes a bill? Like, who is it that draws up all this stuff? Is it like the people that get together and advocate for something, and then it goes to
Yeah, so there's a staff of people. So the legislators are that's the figurehead, if you will. Like that's the person that's down there. That's the one that we all know and follow because we voted for them. They're on the ballot. They're the ones that are trying to, you know, make things happen. But there's a big support team behind the figureheads that like make the machine go that you don't see. And so to get a bill drafted, I mean, it's got to come from a legislator, and they make a request of the machine that you don't see and say, hey, can you write the words? Can you write the language for me?
Okay.
But
Can we take one step back now? So, okay, I get the legislator draws up the bill, but then, okay, who is contacting the legislator for?
you can.
Right. That's what I want. That's what I wanted you to let everybody know.
So they get a lot of these ideas from you, the constituents, but only if you call them. You know, so or email them.
Okay.
We'll tell you how to do all that.
Uh-huh.
You know, there was one legislator. He says, he's working on tidal energy. You know, it's a good idea. Where'd you get that? You know, someone put the idea in my head, so I ran with it. You know, so the ideas come from, you know, the general public and, you know, webinars and, you know, public engagements that they learn about these things. And so, you know, as a bill becomes law, it's got to pass both houses, and then it goes to the governor's desk, and the governor can conditionally veto, or sign it into law. So here's a couple of like the New Jersey legislative committees, and it's just a list here, but we're going to get to this in a second. It's important for you to know who is your legislator in Montclair, New Jersey. I'm represented by, I have Senator Nia Gill. My assembly people are Brittany Timberlake and Thomas Giblin. I they live not far from me, so I actually I see them around town, or I have a close personal relationship with them. So never mind, I'm Eric Benson, the lobbyist, and I'm trying to represent 80,000 people across New Jersey and have relationships, but I can't have a deep relationship with 120 different legislators. It's just too many people and or their staff. But you are the most important advocates in the state, is because you live in town, you're neighbors with your legislators, and you can have a personal relationship with them. Your kids might go to the same school as their kids, or they might be on the same soccer team. I'm never going to have that level of engagement or that level of relationship. But I want you to care about the environment. I want you to work with me to help, build that personal connection. Hurricane Ida came and your basement flooded. There's rules, there's regulations, there's laws that we can work to address that. But me representing 80,000 people is not as important as your personal connection and your personal story. I can talk policy, but that's what's really important about having this, the people that make things work here. So I have the legislative committees on here, and this is important because different bills will go to different committees. Obviously, I'm very passionate about the environment. I'm working personally and professionally. I'm going to follow things that go into the transportation committee. Maybe that's NJ Transit. It's going to, and I'd like to see more. I like to see more NJ Transit. Things are going to go into the environment committee. Almost anything that goes into budget, I'm like, what are you spending money on? I want to know that. But your personal passion, kids, it might be education. I'm interested in that, but I run out of time in my day. They got so you can see that there's a lot of different committees here, and so what's really important to know is who are your legislators and what committees do they serve on. So I told you my three my legislators, but my legislators are not on any environmental committees. Senator Nia Gill, she's on the Judiciary Committee. So even though it's my own personal legislator, she's not as in, she'll probably do the right thing on the environment, but she's not on that core group, the 4 or 5 people that are going to decide on the Senate environment. There's 5 people. They're going to small group workshop a lot of stuff that I care about. But my legislators are not on that, committee. So, where are your legislators? What committees do they serve on? Because they have an outsized influence on issues that come before their committee. And then it's also good to know, is your legislator somebody that's in charge of the committee? Because they can say, I'd like to put this up for a vote. I'd like to not put it up for a vote. But if they're the chair of one of these committees, that they have an even bigger influence. And
right.
So just it's important to know who your legislators are. What is their I don't know, maybe top 2 or 3 priorities, because that's what they're going to focus on. If they're really into education, or they're really into gun control, or they're really into women's rights, or they're really into the environment, they kind of end up on those committees. And so it's good for you to know where your people are. Contacting them. You can always search.
Okay. We have somebody listening in and tuning in on Facebook, and she said, I'm interested in education as well.
Excellent.
All right. So you got to find out who your legislator is.
Yeah. So you got to find them and see where they're at. And sometimes, yeah. So, but yeah. So you should contact your legislators directly. And this is a super fun trick. 99% of the people, I think if you go to the New Jersey legislative website, whether you Bing, Yahoo, Google, whatever MSN, however you search, if you type in New Jersey legislature, I'll show you the screen in a second. The state's website will pop up. And I think there's an online form. You can click here, send your legislator an email. But all of them have this kind of a format. So if it's an assembly person, it's ASM or ASW. So my legislator is Assemblywoman, ASW Timberlake at njledge.org. That's her email address. You can send it to her. The staff will, monitor it and relay your concerns. Senator Nia Gill, it's SEN Gill at njledge.org. That's her email address. So it's easier to show you the formula than it was to. I'm not going to put all 120 legislators' emails.
Right.
But you can also, you have my information at the top of the slide. If you have trouble contacting somebody or trouble finding someone, you can also reach out to me directly, and I'm glad to help you facilitate, getting in touch with them. I also, they're more and more becoming active on Facebook and social media and Twitter, whether that's going to make it through another year or not. Twitter's making some changes.
Oh yeah. Mm.
So, but
I think a lot of people abandoned ship with that one.
I know it's tough. But it is a helpful tool, and many legislators on there, and they might not be as hip, as some of us are. But you can contact them directly using the email formula. But it's a private exchange. You send them an email, they might just count it, they might respond to it, but like nobody else sees it. Where, if they're putting stuff on Twitter, you're gonna what is my legislator into? Like you can go through their feed and see like, what their stance is on a number of issues. And then if you do a tweet that tags them, they're gonna see it, right? You get your notifications, you get your the alarm bell goes off. So they're gonna see it. But so does everyone else, So that's the nice thing about doing the Twitter is it's a public forum, and you can also call their offices. And calling takes a little bit more time than sending an email does, but it counts a little bit more because it takes a little bit more time. Write them a letter. You can also engage with them by writing them a letter. So I have on here, so contacting them, you don't have to be a policy expert. It's easy if it's something that you're interested in. If it's something that you're passionate about, contact your legislators. So few people get involved, or so few people engage. When you give them a call, they think, oh, there's 100 other people out there that think the same thing as you did. They just didn't take the time to call. People call their U.S. congressional people all the time. And so when one New Jersey legislator gets a call, or 10, like, wow, the world is ending, right? Like it's just, people don't call. And so when you do, it really, sends a strong message. So contact your legislators. You got emails. You can do it publicly via social media. If you just give them a call, depending on the office, depending on how good of a legislator you have, very often we'll get somebody on the other line, they record them. I've called my legislator and then they call me back, so I give the message to the staff, and then somebody in Gimlin, he says, oh, I just wanted to let you know, based on your call and some others that I got, I will be a co-sponsor to the Green Amendment. It's one of the things that we're working on. So contact your legislators. I have, I call this lobbying on the fly. I have a slide here. If you're going to give them a call, or again, our New Jersey legislators, you might see them at your town's 4th of July parade or Memorial Day parade. You might run into them. They're just around town. Many of them probably used to be mayor of the town. Like they run for mayor, they build a following, and then they go run for federal office. So kind of know, like, what, 30 seconds, if elevator speech, if you will, if you were to get 30 seconds, you're going to introduce, who am I, who am I with, why am I passionate about this issue, and what do you want them to do? This is how I think about it. So I have the wrap, build a rapport. Hi, I'm Eric Benson. I'm a volunteer with Clean Water Action. We are working on stopping climate change. Right now, there's 7 facilities that are being proposed throughout the state that will increase our emissions. What can you do to help us oppose them? Oh, hi, I'm Eric Benson. I'm a volunteer with Clean Water Action. I want a livable future for my kids. There's a constitutional Green Amendment. What can you help us pass the Green Amendment so that they have a guaranteed right to clean air and clean water? So if you're going to get 30 seconds with them, and a lot of your follow-up information, if you send an email, you can say, oh, I saw you at the parade. This is what I want you to do. So it just helps you think of, like, what am I asking to do? How do I frame my request?
And building that relationship as well, right? Because you're in the same spaces, obviously.
Yeah. So I have on here, it's additional New Jersey news resources, and I put this on here because it's sometimes hard to find the information you might be looking for. Minimally, everyone that I've got listed on here, they all have a daily alert. You sign up online, and you get the headlines for the day. And when I do this as I'm waking up in the morning, my kids might not be up yet, but I'll scroll through my phone and at least read all the headlines, because education. I mean, I'm interested in education, but it's not my top priority. But I can see like what the big news of the day that's happening on the budget, or on education, or on guns, or on social justice or inequity. So I'll get all of the headlines and everything that's got an environmental theme to it. I wind up clicking those links and getting more information about it. But so these are all, I think they're all online, but all reputable sources of getting some information. If you sign up for any one or all 3 or 4 or 5 of their daily alerts, minimally you get the headlines, you click on the interest articles of interest, and then that's how you, what is my person up to, or what's happening in and around the state. And you might not have time to read it every single morning, but if nothing else, and you scroll through and you get the headlines, you'll have a much broader sense of what's going on in your community, around the state. And again, the things that are happening on the state level, it's hard to follow, but it absolutely, positively, definitely has a direct impact on your day-to-day life. Supporting organizations like Clean Water Action, where I am an expert on statewide environmental issues. You follow organizations, or you sign up for our email alerts when something is very timely, very important. We're able to share that information with you. And then there's other, traditional, but like less, I don't know who subscribes to the paper anymore, but they are the papers of record. This, whether it be the Star Ledger, Bergen Record, Asbury Park Press, or is the major dailies, of New Jersey. They have a little bit of online, much of their stuff is online, but just it's good to get your information that way. So
Jessica Johnson on Facebook asks, are these alerts for all of New Jersey?
Yes. So, yeah, and these are New Jersey specific sources. I also, I get the New York Times, right? I subscribe to that, and I can see what's happening, across the nation, around the globe. But the thing I like about these is their New Jersey focus. It is north, south. This stuff it's geared it's a little bit more on the policy and the politics end of it. So like what's happening in Trenton. So I'm not going to be able to find out what's happening in Montclair, New Jersey by going on to these, unless there's like really big news. But all these have like a little bit more of that like political edge to them. Is why I like them.
Well, it's good to get some, get the knowledge on those resources that we can depend on for the real information. So I appreciate that you shared that.
Yeah, and so that's the end of my presentation. This is if there's additional questions, I'm glad to stick around for a little bit and answer them. I also know you have more things than me on the agenda.
If anybody has any questions on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, please definitely ask away, because we do want to learn and get a better understanding as to how to engage with our legislators. This is what this is all about. It's for us to learn, it's for us to grow, and it's for us to take action, right? So definitely, if you can, ask away. This is your time. Thank you, Eric. And I'm just going to give everybody like 2 seconds, and I just definitely want to say thank you to Clean Water Action. Of course, you are sponsoring this engagement for tonight. Somebody asked, I see a question here. How do you testify in Trenton on an issue?
Yeah, there's lots of ways to do that. So let me, I'm going to, give me 1 second here. I'm going to, NJ Ledge. I'm going to come back and share my screen and share screen. Let me see if this works. Share. Let me know if this doesn't work. It's going to be like All right. Can you see the New Jersey Legislative homepage or no?
Yep, here it is.
Okay, great. So this is a brief tour. Again, you can use any web search engine. If you type New Jersey Legislature, like this is the homepage. This is what's going to come up here. And so you can see on here, there's a lot of resources. So on here, I see, find your legislator. You can click that. You can find yourself
Let's
on the
say if you
map.
live in Trenton. How about if you live in Trenton? Because I have two people that are engaging with us right now, and they are actually in Trenton. So
Yeah.
they want to know how to get to their legislators.
So find your legislator.
Uh-huh.
I do district list usually. And if I hit Control F, Trenton, right, it's going to come up here. So here's Trenton. It's district number 15. And so your representatives that are down in Trenton, it's Senator Shirley Turner. I'm sorry. Assemblywoman Verlina Reynolds Jackson, and Assemblyman Borelli. These are the three legislators, and you can see right here. You can contact them on here. This will send them an email. The legislature. Let me go back to the homepage. So that's how you find your legislator, and it'll show you on there who's doing what. Your legislator. Let me go back one more. I'm sorry.
You're good.
This stuff is messy, but so if I click Senator Shirley Turner, I'll get a lot of information about her. So it's got her phone number on the bottom left side. You can, that was the email link there, but it tells you what committee she's on. She's vice chair of the Education Committee. She's on the Economic Committee, right?
Okay, Samaje, there you go. There goes your education person.
So, so you can see, what they've done and what they're interested in from their homepage. So the legislature meets on Mondays and Thursdays for the most part, and not throughout the year. Being a New Jersey legislator is a part-time job. They're mostly off for the summer times. If you on the homepage, you can see here's a calendar of like activity that's happening. November, December. It's mostly Mondays and Thursdays. That's the big days. They're going to take off for the holidays. There's nothing in January because I don't think they set the schedule yet. So just today, the 30th, there was two committees that met today: Assembly, Agriculture, and Food Security. If I click on the link here, this is who met. They talked about invited guests determine agricultural lands and escaping loss as a result of warehouse projects, and Amazon's, we all get Prime, but it's because they've done a lot of building and developing of warehouses, which might bring trucks to your neighborhood, might bring more pollution. It's nice to have Prime, but it comes at a cost. So that's what they discussed today. Contact me directly. We can do like a whole. I think. Okay. Well, hang on. We can do. I love taking people to Trenton. I love showing you around the State House. There's just some days that are, there's action that's happening, and some days it's not. But I'm able to hook you up. You're welcome to shout at me. We can do some testifying together. The other thing is the legislature. Let me go back to the homepage. Even if you're not available to go to Trenton, you can watch and listen and hear and figure out what's going on. So on the front homepage, here's a watch proceedings. There's live, which is happening right now. So it's late. There's nothing happening right now. But archived, anything that's ever been a meeting ever before, it's all up here. So if you wanted to see Senate committees, Senate environment here is one example. They had a meeting on Thursday, November 3rd. It's come, it's gone. They discuss things, but you can go back and you can listen to it. On the day of, you can also listen to them live. So when the people are debating, the merits of a bill. This is a good bill, a bad bill. How do we make it stronger? Or business lobby says, how do we make it weaker? You can hear the discussion yourself, be a part of it.
So Jessica Johnson just asked, are these meetings public?
Yes. The ones that happen in Trenton, the committee has a hearing. Yes. Those are public, but if you wanted to meet with your legislator, you can give them a call. You can make a scheduling request. Hey, this is a very important issue to me. I'd like to discuss with you. That would be a private meeting. It's not for everyone to access. But a lot of the committees, the voting sessions, they say, oh, we're going to vote on this list of bills today. You can go down there, you can observe it, you can be a part of the magic as it, or witness it as it happens.
Thank you. She said, great. I got a feeling Jessica's going to be there. All so right. We'd love to take you up on your offer, just maybe have a PEP Powerful Leaders engagement with you and shadow you for a day to get to know.
I'd love that.
Yes, let's go on tour. That's right. Definitely, for sure. Let's go on tour. We're going to go on an environmental justice tour for sure. So thank you, of course, for your time this evening. And I was going to see if EJ organizer Terrence was going to join us because I know he had something for us to share. Let's see if we are going to get him on. I know that you're listening, Terrence.
Can I share a link or no?
Sure, of course.
So how do I do that?
So if you see the comments on the right side, if you click that button.
Got it. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll put in, it's a scorecard, so we do one every 2 years. Clean Water Action does a scorecard every 2 years. And so we say, what's the important environmental issues that got voted on this session? So this one was from 2019 until 2021. We had a lot of big accomplishments. I talked a little bit about them tonight, but it's a report. You can see how did your legislator vote. So you can say, do I have a good environmental legislator or do I have a bad environmental legislator? You have to find who your legislator is. You can look at the list and I'm going to say they did a good job or they did a bad job. And it goes through some of the details, like what were the most important and pressing items of that day, and highlights a lot of our successes. So.
Love it. And tell us a little bit more about your campaign that you gave us a little snippet of, if you can.
Say that again.
Tell us a little bit more about the campaign that you're actively working on. I missed the name of it.
Oh, the Empower New Jersey. Yeah.
Yes, Empower New Jersey. Yeah. Tell us about that work.
Yeah. So Governor Murphy, he says all the right things, right? He says, I believe the science. I follow Greta Thunberg, and battling climate change is the most important thing of our lives right now. Except, again, he's a very powerful governor. He's got he appoints all the people that are in charge of all the departments that could have an impact. And so even though he says all the right things, in his first term, there was 12 projects, that were fossil fuel related, proposed throughout the state. Compressor stations, which increase the amount of gas that can go through a pipeline, new pipelines, and power plants. So there's 12 projects that were being proposed, and he wouldn't, he just kept giving out permits, and some of them got approved and some of them got built. And we say, he's got this 100% clean energy goal by 2050. He says, if you ask him, oh, where are you on climate? 100% clean by 2050. That's my goal. But the science and the reports say, it doesn't matter what you do in 2045 or 2040, we have to globally cut emissions 50% by the year 2030. So it doesn't matter what your 2050 goal is if you miss the 2030 benchmarks, because we're going to have put out so much carbon and climate emissions.
By then,
we're not going to be able to go back. We're going to hit a tipping point. And so we have to do it by 2030. And so Governor Murphy says, I got this, 2050 goal. So one, that doesn't matter. Two, how do you have a climate goal if you build a power plant today? It's still going to be online, by 2050. So how do you have 100% clean if you're going to even, just by your own metric, build a power plant today? So we launched the campaign in 2018, and I think there was 12 or 13 projects on the initial list. We've killed some have got built, But also some new ones have gotten added to the list. So I forget what the ledger is right now, but plus or minus a couple. There are 7 projects that we're fighting right now, all over the state. One of the most offensive that I'm working on right now is the New Jersey Turnpike Authority is going to spend what they said was $5 million to add a highway lane in each direction going into and out of the Lincoln Tunnel, and $5 billion. So $5 billion is offensive. It's a huge amount of public money that we should be investing in mass transit or investing in making our communities more bikeable, walkable, and safe. That's one problem. Two, if you're going to expand the highway on either side and say we're going to add a lane going into and out of the Holland Tunnel in order to relieve traffic, but the Holland Tunnel is not getting any bigger. So where's this traffic going to go? Right? So like we're spending $5 billion and we're not making the problem any better. And on top of that, New York City doesn't even want our cars. So like New Jersey, aka Governor Murphy, is fighting the New York City toll congestion tolling, like to the death. But he's also expanding the highways to get people into the city. It's absurd. And what we found out recently was, the project is not going to cost $5 billion. It's going to cost more than $10 billion. Right? So like already, like the project has doubled in cost and doesn't solve the problem, and it's going to increase emissions. And Jersey City's got, they've already been divided by a highway. Highways divide communities. They're going to have to take properties. They're going to bulldoze schools. They're going to bulldoze where are they going to put this highway? Community is already there, and it's going to increase, both the climate emissions and the cars increase, like health emissions. So like that's one example. Passaic Valley Sewage Commission is another. It's in Newark, New Jersey. We already have 3 power plants in New Jersey. They want to build a 4th, to keep the sewer treatment plant running. They want to do a New Jersey Transit wants to build their own fracked gas power plant, and they say, oh, it's going to be green today. But green would be 100% clean, renewable energy, solar. Put it over all the NJ Transit parking lots. You got a lot of real estate here. You can put it over the train tracks. You can put solar in all of those places. They own the land. They can just put solar there, or batteries. They can run the trains off of batteries. So,
talking about that, like thinking about how we're going to be changing in 2030. There's a push for all electric. You would think that the state would think about, how are they going to help their community, us as a community to even be able to do that? Because at this point, I know you said there's a $4,000 credit, but the cost of electric vehicles.
I feel that firsthand. I don't have one yet because I can't afford one.
Exactly.
The important thing, so about this Empower New Jersey coalition that I really like is that what we found when we kicked off the campaign was these projects were all over the state, but everyone was sort of working in a silo, right? It's we're going to build a power plant here, and like the neighbors and the community and the parents and the people were opposing that power plant. Might be 100, 150, 200 people. But, with a project in like all different corners of the state, north, south, central, we don't want them here. We don't want them there. We don't want them anywhere, as the Lorax would say. And so, but we were able to unite a lot of these communities and say, we're going to show up and help you fight your project. And we're hoping that you'll come and show up and help us fight our project at key moments, so we've been able to really unite and unify a lot of these frontline pipeline activists.
All right. I don't know who the Facebook user, but it says I'm here. Great session.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. Well, of course, thank you once again, Eric, and you are campaign director at Clean Water Action, and thank you for that information. And we're so gonna hold you to that invite. See, we had it on live. It's recorded. We can go back to it. Anybody else that tunes in, if they say that they're interested, we're gonna bring them all along.
Yes.
So we're Samaje says, thank you. Thank you. For that information. I know that, I just really appreciate that you really walked us through how to get in touch with our legislators, going to the website, clicking on things and walking us through that, and even how to engage and talk to our legislators when we get that opportunity. So thank you once again, Clean Water Action, for being with us at Parents Engaging Parents, and continue to tune in. We have a plethora of things going on. They will be posted on social media, and we will be hitting you in emails and every way that we can engage you. So have a great evening, everybody. It is 7:30. Have a good night. Thank you.